Hello, my name is Sydney, and I'll be your therapist today. What is your name?
I'm Karina.
Okay, nice to meet you. Is it okay if I call you Karina, or is there something else you would prefer?
Karina's on.
Okay. To start things out, I want to talk a little bit about how this is going to work. Have you ever seen a social worker or therapist before?
No.
Okay. Well, it's a little bit like how you see your doctor. You make appointments with them and you come in and you meet them and you talk about whatever it is and then you leave and you make another appointment. Sort of like that. It's not really a friendship, it's a professional relationship. So we don't add each other on Facebook or text message each other. It's a professional relationship. Do you have any questions for me about what this is going to look like?
No.
All right. Well, I want to make sure that you understand a bit about confidentiality. So, anything that you tell me will stay between us, with a few exceptions. Those exceptions being if you give me any reason to believe a child, person with disabilities, or elderly person is in danger, either from you or someone else, I am mandated to report that to authorities. So, just keep that in mind. Also, if you give me any reason to believe that you're harm to yourself or other people, I also have to report that just to keep you safe and other people safe. Do you have any questions about confidentiality?
No.
Okay, so throughout the session, you'll see me taking some notes. That is just so I can kind of keep track of what we're discussing and make sure that we're both understanding each other. It's for your benefit as well as my own, just so we can keep everything in order and leave it more organized. Anytime if you want to see those notes, you are welcome to do so. And just like with everything you tell me, I will not share those with other people. Do you have any questions or thoughts on the notes?
No.
Okay, so before we get started into why you're actually here, I thought it would be good to maybe know a bit about, your core values and your beliefs. Like, what is important to you in this relationship? What are you hoping to get out of it? Is there anything that I should know beforehand, culturally or personally, so I don't do anything to offend you?
No, not really.
All right, well, why don't you go ahead and tell me what brought you in here today?
Well, I recently found out I'm pregnant.
You found out you were pregnant. Okay, how are you feeling about that?
Nervous
Nervous? What's making you nervous?
that I don't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know how people will react.
Mm-hmm. What's making you nervous about how people will react?
That I'm only 19 years old, so it's for some people it's kind of young.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how my family or how some friends will take it.
Are you afraid that they'll think badly of you?
Yeah.
What makes you think that they'll think badly of you? Just because you're young, or?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Have you told anyone?
No.
No, not even the father.
Nope.
Okay. What do you think about telling someone?
I'm not sure if I want to tell them because I was actually thinking that I might get an abortion and not even
Oh,
tell anyone.
I see. That is a big decision to make for sure. How are you feeling about even just having that thought in your head?
Well, to be honest, I've always been pro-choice, so I don't
Mm-hmm.
even think that's bad. I
Right.
myself don't see abortion as a bad thing.
Yeah, and that's okay. I mean, you don't have to see it as a bad thing, but it's still a big decision to make. Especially on your own. So, what sort of support network do you have if you were going to tell someone? Because that's hard to go through by yourself, right? Yeah.
If I would tell anyone, it would probably just be my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably not tell my dad, just my mom.
What makes you not want to tell your dad?
Cause well, my dad, he's the one that's paying for my college and stuff. So I feel like he would be disappointed in me.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to continue to study
Right. What are you studying?
social work.
Oh, well, small world. But that is, it's great that you're in college, and it's great that you're thinking these things through. You're not just jumping to a quick conclusion. Um, how much have you thought about getting an abortion or keeping the baby?
I don't know. I think about it a lot because I work at a daycare,
Mm-hmm.
so I see kids
So
on a regular basis.
you kind of know what it's like to have a kid and what kind of difficulties come with that.
Yes, because the daycare, you can give them back to their parents.
That's true. You can definitely give them back to their parents at the end of the day. Have you considered options other than abortion or?
Not really.
Okay, so it's just kind of abortion or keeping the baby for you.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about that?
I don't know. I'm confused.
You're confused. Yeah, I understand how you might feel confused. What do you think about maybe setting up sort of a list, even just in your head, of the different pros and cons of having the abortion and having the baby?
Yeah, be good.
You think that might be helpful? Would you like to do that now or?
Sure.
Okay, so why don't we go over some of the pros first of having the abortion?
Yeah. Well, no baby. And then I would be able to continue studying.
Mm-hmm.
I would be able to continue to work and earn money.
Yeah.
And there wouldn't be any stigma against me or anything that I'm pregnant at a young age.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like with the abortion and losing the stigma against you, being able to continue to work and go to school, it would just have a less stress on what you're going through right now. Whereas if you kept the baby, it would add a lot of stress on you.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
What do you think the pros would be of keeping the baby?
Keeping, I don't know, like, I guess just having a baby.
Do you want to have a baby?
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah. Do you think that, I guess maybe who do you think you should include in this conversation? I know you said that your mom is a major support network for you, but obviously this choice is going to affect more than just you, right?
It would be mainly me though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm trying to ask about the father specifically. Is he still involved in the picture, or
I mean, yeah, but he doesn't know.
do you think that he should know?
Probably.
What do you feel about telling him?
I don't know how he would take it.
You don't know how he would take the pregnancy or how he would take the thought of the abortion?
The pregnancy.
What worries you about it?
I know he mentioned that he likes kids, but I do remember that he said that he doesn't want to be a father yet. In the future, but not yet.
So how do you think he would react to the idea of the abortion?
Maybe at first negative, but maybe later he'll come to like it,
What do you hope he would feel?
That he wants the baby, maybe. Maybe if he were to want the baby and to help me, then maybe having the baby wouldn't be a bad idea.
So sounds to me that where your anxiety and stress comes from with this is not having support for you. And if you were to have a more solid support network, you might not want to go with the abortion.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about the idea of talking to him now that you've kind of set that up in your mind?
Well, maybe I'm thinking that, it's not a bad idea. Maybe I should.
Yeah. I feel that it's important to include him in the conversation, but obviously that is your decision. If the two of you were to get the abortion, how do you think that would impact you?
Um, well, I don't know. I mean, it would make, I think it would make life easier because the kid is, needs a lot of attention.
Mhm.
It's a big deal, you know. So if I were to have an abortion, I feel like it might be easier.
Might be easier. And if you were to not have the abortion, how do you think having the kid would have a negative influence on your relationship, or?
Not necessarily. It would complicate things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are you thinking now?
What am I thinking? I don't know. I'm definitely thinking of telling him and maybe deciding after I tell him.
I think that would be a great idea. If having someone else there to kind of help you work through it in your mind and, you know, make that decision with you. And if you make whatever choice you make, you'll have him there with you to support you and kind of help you through it because, abortions are not necessarily easy things for everyone. What do you think about if you got the abortion? How would you feel about it in the future?
I don't know. That's what I'm afraid of. That I would feel guilty
Mm-hmm.
in the future.
What ways do you think you could, what things do you think you could do to determine whether it's worth it now or if the future possibility of feeling guilty is making it not worth it?
Um, I don't know because I do want kids, but just not now.
Mm-hmm.
So then I feel like in the future, if I do have a kid, I would feel guilty for having an abortion for the first kid. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
I might feel guilty if I have another kid
Right.
in the future.
What would make you feel guilty?
The fact that I was able to have one, but not the other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But in different times in your life, sometimes you're ready for things and sometimes you're not ready for things. Um, Maybe if you reframe it in your head a little bit, that might help you get rid of the feelings of guilt. But I mean, those are totally valid feelings, and they're definitely something to take into consideration when thinking about this sort of thing. The future is important. So it's good that you're kind of preparing yourself, thinking through every possibility. When do you think you need to have this decision made?
Um, oh no, probably I don't want to have. I kind of want to do this as soon as possible. You know, I feel like it's harder to have an abortion the longer
Mm-hmm.
you're
Yeah.
the term of pregnancy.
Right. Okay, so I think this is probably a good place to stop. Um, today we covered a lot of heavy things, so thank you for talking to me about it and, opening up about your pregnancy, having these thoughts of possibly getting an abortion, your relationship with the father of the child, and, forming these ideas of what's good about having the abortion, what's bad about it, how might I feel later. These are all important things to think about. So thank you for sharing that with me. Do you have any thoughts on everything we've discussed today or any feelings that you want to talk about before we end?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, so for next time, I think it might be a good idea to maybe have the conversation with the father, or at least come up with a plan on how you can have the conversation with the father of the child, and then maybe form more of a timeline of when this decision needs to be made, because it's a big decision. Do you think that would be something you could do?
Yeah, definitely.
And how are you feeling about doing that?
I'm feeling good. I think.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in today.